Hey, Lea Louise here, and I have another potato chip block coming. I am so excited to share this with you. But what I'm going to show you today is how to get as much out of your scraps as possible, how to get as many of these pieces. I have at least 600 pieces right here, and I'm going to show you all the tricks on how to make this happen. I am surely going to have plenty of rectangles to make my next potato chip block quilt. And you can see I have my colors, and I keep them separated as I go so I can see where I have an abundance. And I see I have a bunch of greens and not quite so many of the corals. So that means I'm going to bring in some more of my pinks and other colors that I have. So I'll grab a few of those and add them in. But I also want to show you while I'm doing this, I'm keeping an eye on different fabric values. Remember we talked about light, mediums, and darks? So here's a pretty little grouping of purpley lavenders. And this one is more teal. And some of these are just out of my charm squares. And many of them, it's just a one of a kind. It's just one I have left, and it's going to work out really well. And so these, and some of these are, near solids. They may be a watercolor or sort of a grungy kind of thing. But this is going to work really well to add some interest. Now these, I want to show you, are a bit different than these. So this is more purple, and this is a more blue lavender. So we'll get some of those colors, and all of those are included in this. I mean, we've got so many different colors. Oh, and we can't forget the golds. So I have some golds that I want to put in, but I also have this yellow. And because there are some brighter yellows in here, I think that would make this quilt really stand out. But here's what I'm excited about. Look what I found. Remember I said I had a couple Ziplocs of pre-cut, my Scrappy Rectangles, and I have quite a few in here that I'll be able to pull out and use. And there's a lot in here. You may remember this quilt. That's only been a few months ago, earlier this year. This was a really pretty potato chip block. And there's lots of colors in here that I can draw from. So I have more than enough. But what I want to show you is once we have these cut, there is another really fast shortcut that we're going to use. So by the time we're ready to piece our block, it's going to go together very quickly. If you love your scrappy quilts as much as I do, you know there can be a lot of prep. And if you save all that scrappy prep to the last minute, you're going to be spending days getting ready. So let me show you a couple things that I do. And I'm just showing you this now because I'm getting ready to cut more strips, and I have this stuff ready to go. So in the first quilt, you remember, I had a lot of different fabrics in similar colors. So what I did is I put my fat quarters together, and I lined them up nice and even, and I cut multiples at one time. So then when I'm finished, I fold up those fat quarters nice and neat, and I put them in a basket, and then when I'm ready, I pull them out again, and here we are. Let me show you. I've got this one right here. So here's this fat quarter, and I've already cut off multiple strips, but you can see I have all these fabrics that are in a similar colorway. That makes it easy. And then now I'm just going to fold it up like this, put it away. And you know what's even better? When I take this back out, this cut side is ready to go. I don't have to realign everything. It is such a time saver. That's why I love pre-cuts, because they really save me time. So then I pulled that other one out, and I cut off a pair of 2.5-inch strips. So I have two of everything right here. And I have a ruler. I knew I had a ruler somewhere. And so now what I'm going to do is just come in and cut them at 4.5 inches. Now I'm using my big blade because I probably have 8 or more different fabrics. And I'm just going to cut across here every 4.5 inches until I get down to the end. And the beauty of this is how much fabric I can go through quickly. I mean, it just happens really fast. And I have, because, you know, each, like I said, each cut, I'm getting multiples. Now, when I get down to here, I'm going to cut this selvage off, and I don't know what I'm going to make with these yet, but it's going to be beautiful, and I'm saving these little guys for something wonderful. Now, I'm going to separate these into individual piles, just like this, and I'm going to go through the whole stack. And by doing this, it's my way of distributing color, because I don't want all the same pieces next to each other in the same block. I want to spread them out. So I'm dividing all my color segments that are very similar in tone and value, and I'm dividing them into 2 piles. And these are my 2 piles. I'm going to, it looks like now, I think I'm going to have 20 blocks. So that's 10 and 10, right? And, well, I do things in half. And the reason I do that is I'm going to have 10 blocks made of one pile of fabrics and 10 blocks made of the other. And then when I alternate and put them together, I'm not going to have duplicating fabrics where they join. That's a big deal to me. So I'm going to do the same thing with this little bundle here. And let's just see. So these are particularly dark, and these are on the lighter side. Sorry, I can't decide how best to do this and be able to see it all. And let's see, this comes here. We'll put this one here. That goes there. And then I'm going to divide these groups up. I can't tell the difference between these two. You see me getting confused? But I'll divide these 2 up between those 2 piles. Now, right now, I probably have about 180-ish in each pile. And I'm going to need 300 of each, because this quilt is going to take 600 rectangles. It's kind of what I figured. Now, that was going with a few more blocks than what I may be able to make, but I'd rather cut out the extra and have them and be ready to use them at another time, because I always like having extras. I have this one, and remember, I have my Ziplocs, and so I will just continue adding to these Ziplocs as I go. And so each time I start a quilt, I always have something to begin with. When you start from an empty slate, that gets really tough. Okay, so here we are. So I have 7, and I'm going to have to divide it unevenly. Oh my goodness. Well, these 2 are both practically the same, and I'm going to put 1 in each pile. These 2 both have reds, so I'm going to put those in each pile. These are both dark, so I'll put that there. So I'm going to find something else that'll match with that. That is going to save you so much time just cutting your squares like this, your rectangles. It is just such a, what do I want to say, productive way of, you know, doing your quilting and getting your fabrics ready, because when you want to do a scrappy quilt, if everything is piled in a big heap and it's all different sizes and it's all wrinkled, oh my gosh, you are not going to want to do that. So let's get on track and let's get organized. I can't believe I said that. That is so not my credo. Well, I don't know how many are here, but we definitely have our 600. I usually have 300 in each pile, but that's okay. I'm going to be able to use it. I'll have plenty of options to use it at another time, because I wasn't able to get as many of these squares as I had hoped. And it was something I bought a while back, and I happened to see it and thought, oh, this would be perfect. So I've got 20 squares, and that'll work out okay. I can make that. I'll do it in a 4x5 layout. But just when I thought all my scrappiness was taken care of, and it's trimmed, it's cut, it's ready to sew, start my blocks, oh my gosh, the last 4 squares, look at this. I want to put the ruler there so you can see. There's like almost, well, 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch I'm short. And so I went ahead and cut it, leaving that white part on there. And this is all the fabric I have left. How much is this? I mean, talk about cutting it down. Okay, it's 1 3/4 inch. So what I'm going to have to do now is piece my center squares. And I'm looking at this and I think, all right, what am I going to do? And I thought, well, so I'll take this and I can kind of piece it in there. And if I can get a few colors to line up along the way. And then I looked at this side and I said, okay, yeah, I can kind of come up with some stuff and let's see, kind of put that right there maybe, and those leaves. So I'm going to have to get creative on these last 4. But by the time I come back to show you how to put this quilt together, now that we have everything taken care of that we need, this is going to go together so quick. We're talking really, really fast. So I'm going to leave you at this point because I have an unexpected task I need to get finished before I can start. And with that, I just want to say thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and I'm so excited about sharing this quilt, but also sharing the potato chip block tips, tricks, hacks, secrets, whatever we want to call them, that work, and it really does make a difference. Thank you so much for following along and hanging in here, and keep your eyes open. I'm going to have this quilt coming out in just a couple days. All right, you have a great rest of your day.